What's a harmless thing you did as a kid that could have gone horribly wrong? My brothers and I used to have water drinking contests to see who could drink a gallon of water the fastest. Our little bodies would oftentimes throw up the water and we would laugh and continue on with our day. It wasn't until I got older that I found out drinking a lot of water in a short amount of time could be fatal. Playing with gun. I thought it was a toy gun. I pointed it at someone as a joke. That memory lives rent-free in my head. I found a bat hanging outside by my garage and played with it. It bit me a few times, but I barely felt it. I learned later on in life I could have gotten rabies from it. Put a bag over my baby sister's head thinking how funny she looked when her face changed color. I was 5. Jumping off the roof onto sheep then ride them around. Staying out all day until dusk. No street lights where I lived, but wild dogs came out after dark. We saw the mess they made of the sheep, so avoided them. Building zip lines 10 meters up in trees with no safety equipment. Playing in the hay shed full of snakes. Walking through the bush in summer in bare feet. Hitchhiking to the beach in summer. Then I turned about 13 and don't want to remember the shit I did as a teenager. All growing up in Australia in the 70s, 80s. Hitchhiking with friends around the south side of Chicago when I was in 8th grade. Riding on the outside of freight trains, clinging to the ladders and then jumping off while it was moving. Throwing pumpkins at mailboxes out of car windows while driving by. Just demolished the mailboxes when they hit. When I was little, my family nicknamed me Baby Godova, because when I stayed over with my rich relatives I'd sneak out of my room at the crack of dawn and go ride the pony they kept for me in my underwear. One day they found me on her with pot leaf in my hand. My mom still has it in a photo album. To this day, nobody knows where I found it. I pushed a kid into a river. He was a friend of mine and we were all swimming there. When he came up I yelled gator and he freaked out bad. I apologized. About an hour later we were eating and watched a 10-foot gator swim through the same area we were swimming. When I was little my mom left me in a room, and when she came back I had found a box on nails and inserted a single nail into every electrical socket. Literally don't know how I'm alive. I was maybe 11 and I got into one of those toy cars yellow with a red roof. But I was too big to fit, so my knees were to my chest and my shins were against the steering wheel. Decided to ride it down a big long hill in my backyard that lead to the forest. As you could guess, went super fast right into a tree. Got some bruised chins, but could have easily broken both of them. Stuck a fork in a toaster. It was the first time I made toast for myself, and I remember being so proud that I thought to use something to grab the bread out, as it didn't pop up above the hot metal, instead of risking burning my fingers. Most other things did in fact go horribly wrong and I was on a first-name basis with my radiologist, but somehow the toaster didn't get me! When I was about 3 or 4 I remember my mom took me out to one of her friends' place to party. Right on mom anyways, me being nosy I started digging in between the couch cushions when suddenly I pulled out a Glock. I remember the weight of it and everyone freaking out when they seen me holding it. My mom claims it never happened, but I know that's bullshit. I was 9 years old. I knew my parents were having an anniversary in a week, so I knocked on everyone's door in the neighborhood and asked all the adults if they wanted to come over for a surprise anniversary party on that day. Someone tipped my parents off about this and it hit the fan. I think it's hilarious now. My parents never socialized with neighbors. I remember my mother walking me all over the neighborhood explaining to everyone we are not indeed having a party, sorry for the trouble OMG. Told my little sister there were cats in the baptismal font. She yelled all the way up the aisle, I don't want to be cat-licked. My dad was trying not to laugh, my mom was glaring daggers at me. Totally worth it. Imagine a 3-year-old yelling I don't want to be cat-licked over and over. Play in construction sites. Eating marbles. Flying to Italy on my own at the age of 14. I used to swing as high as I could, and then like bailout.